a really long time. I was 16 and he was my first love of life. He met me through the internet, through contacts. He's like Russian Facebook, right? And he said that I had the most perfect music taste ever. And I checked his profile and he looked so cute and he was he was my taste, you know. And we were together, we were both at school. We were together for like a year through the internet because we were planning to meet up in summer. He was supposed to come here, visit his relatives, and we were we were only 16, but we were dreaming about having a house together and kids, and that we're going to get like all together. And we never had a quarrel like ever in our life. Like we had such perfect relationships, and he was my first love. And I felt that he was the one. I honestly did feel like he was the one. And it was before my dad left the family, so it was like very good times for my family as well because we were on the rise. We got our own flat for the first time in our lives. My dad had some money, his business was growing. And that summer, when we were supposed to meet up, I finished my exams, and I remember like the last day I was going home on the bus, and I called him, and we talked for 1 hour, and I felt like I loved him so so much. And when we were saying goodbye, I said it like, can't wait to meet you. I love you so much. And he was like, yeah, don't worry, I'm gonna be there soon. And I was like, yeah, sure. And, and then he disappeared. And I didn't know what to do. I I tried to call him. I tried to write him, and he just didn't go online ever anywhere. And he didn't pick up phone ever. And I didn't know a phone number of his mother, and I didn't know. I knew some of his friends, like I knew that he talks to them, but I didn't know if they were his friends or not. And after some time, after like a month, I wrote to his friends and people who know him, whom we had in common. I wrote them like, do you know this guy? Like, could you please tell him that I'm looking for him? And then they said like, yeah, of course, and nothing happened. And in 2 months, he called me because I kept calling him every single day. And then he called me one evening and said, I'm sorry, I got um he said that his arm was broken. Yeah, he said that he broke his arm, and then he is in the hospital, and then they took his phone, that he can't talk to anyone. And I was like, well, that's cool that you finally, talk to me, but like, please just stay in touch with me because I'm worried about you. I thought you were dead or something. And then he didn't call me ever again, and that's it. And I was so, after some time, his page disappeared from contacting from that website, and I didn't know where he was. He just disappeared like that, and that's it. That was the story. And for a really long time, I was not aware that my subconscious took it as it was a traumatic experience, and my subconscious tried to explain, my brain tried to explain the situation, that I was not good enough because he decided to leave me. And since then, this very behavior of mine, which consequently after some time also was exacerbated with the daddy issues because my dad left the family, it all led to very devastating consequences in which I found myself later in my life, because I felt like I was falling in love with every man who was looking at me. I thought it was love. I trusted too many men who didn't really love me ever, and they never deserved my attention because of their intentions. My intentions were always pure. I always felt like this guy's in love with me. I want to be in love with him too. They promised me that that was love, but it wasn't. Because of that trauma. Because I always felt that I was not good enough. And I felt like to be a whole person again, I needed to prove that I'm good. I needed to prove it by having another relationship in my life that would prove that this time it worked out. This time I'm good enough and it works. After 4 years later, the summer when I first time got kissed, I was 20. That summer, I met a guy. With him we were talking over the internet, and he was sending me pictures, and he looked cute and nice, and after some time he was forcing me to tell him that I love him, and I said I don't love you, but he said, I'm so depressed in real life, could you please just lie to me like in a romantic movie? And I said, like, I love you, and I kept telling him I love you even though I didn't mean it. And then he kept telling me every single day of my life how many bitches he fucked, and that it was so perfect and that was so amazing. And we weren't really together a couple, but he was telling me these things, and he forced me to tell him that I love him too. And like, I wasn't that relationship because my parents talked like trash to me, and that's how I was used to feeling. And I thought that was love. That's how fucked up it is. That's why good girls choose bad boys, because men are sucking cocks at being fathers. Mostly. Unfortunately, that's the truth. The sad truth. But that's not the topic of my story, right? So coming back to the story, I was so jealous that this guy tells me about how many bitches he fucked that I decided to sleep with someone too. And I was a virgin that year. I was a virgin. So I was working first time in my life as a waitress, and there was this chef guy with whom I kind of was flirting. And I remember that evening I came to his place purely because I wanted to, do it out of jealousy. And it was my first time ever. And it was not romantic. He literally just told me to turn around, and then he just like went in. And he came in 1 minute. I'm not joking. He came in 1 minute. And then when he finished, and I was like, what? He said, welcome to adult life. And if previously, before that night, he would listen to my music, drive me around the city and all that, and, spend his time with me. As soon as he fucked me, he was not interested in me anymore. He said, like, you should pack your clothes. We have to go. And he was like, I was like, okay, whatever. And he just, like, in silence, he brought me home, and then I felt suicidal. That was my first attempt ever to commit suicide in my life. And I was staying there on the balcony. I was looking down, and I wanted to kill myself because I felt shit. Because I lost my virginity. That guy didn't really like me, and I lost it because I was jealous, and I was trying to get revenge because of the other guy who was also treating me like shit. And I was staying there, and you know what I did? I called that guy. I called that fucking guy who was making me feel jealous. And I said, I want to jump. And he said, why? And I said, because I slept with another guy. And he was like, by the way, we weren't even a couple. Remember that. We weren't even a couple. Okay? We weren't even a couple. But he started saying things like, how could you cheat on me? I was planning to come visit you, but now I'm not gonna do that. If you want to do it yourself, do it. Like, I'm not going to visit you. You're a whore. And I was like, okay, but like you always keep telling me that you fuck others, but like can't I fuck someone else? We're not together. And he said, you tell me that you love me every single day of your life. And I said, because you forced me to. I don't think that I love you, you know. And then he said, I don't know anything. If you want my forgiveness, you have to come yourself. I was like, all right. And that was my first time ever working officially. And by the according to the agreement, I couldn't leave earlier before the trial period ends. And I had to make up a story. Actually, I didn't make up. I just kind of like retold it in a different way. But I had to tell my manager that I wanted to commit suicide, that I need money, that I need to go visit as like a therapist because it's getting worse and that I'm feeling shit. So she listened to me and she made an exception. They paid me my first ever money that I earned working officially because previously I used to work unofficially and I never really had wage because I used to work for my mum, for my family, and I didn't really have like a proper salary. And here I had like a contract and all that shit, you know. So they gave me my first money ever. I knew where that guy was working exactly. He was living in this city. So I chose that train that would come at 7 here. At 8 I knew that I would be next to his workplace. And I didn't tell him that I was coming because I wanted to make a surprise because I felt guilty for this, you know. I wanted to commit suicide and I also felt guilty that I slept with another guy and he told me that I'm a cheater. Okay. So I came to the city. I call him at 7:55 and I say, look out of the window. And he looks out and he sees me and he started like screaming, like, you know, cheering. And, you know, those 5 minutes of my life, I was staying there and I was thinking, oh my God, what's gonna happen? What's gonna happen? And then he comes out and I see his face and I see his body type and I know that he's definitely not my type. And that on the pictures that he sent me over the internet, he was way more handsome. And in reality, he was not handsome at all. But I thought to myself, that's okay. I'm not like physically attracted, but that's fine, you know. He was like a bit higher than me and I'm 164 centimeters, as you know. So he was not like really too tall. And I was like thinking to myself, that's fine. I think he has a good personality. Like we will see how it goes, you know. And the next shit thing, he didn't have money. He did not have money because um he was about to got paid like in a week or something, and he couldn't ask his parents or anyone for money too because he already did that. So he was out of any money, and I was visiting this city for 4 days, and I was paying for everything, for taxis, for food. I was so madly in love with him that I thought it was like appropriate to do that. So yeah, I would bring him, you know, cigarettes to his wake. I would buy him like, you know, food and all that. And you know, I thought that he was gonna be a good person, and you know, he wasn't. We met, and in 30 minutes after we met, we had sex. That was my second time ever having sex with a person, and it was so awkward, and it was so. I did it because I felt like I had to, not because I wanted to. And I didn't like him, but I couldn't tell him that I don't like him. I couldn't tell him that I did not like him because I didn't have enough confidence. So I slept with them even though I didn't really want that. I didn't want him. Sex is awkward the first time you're gonna lie to me. Bitch, you haven't even tried. You're the biggest virgin on my stream. Alright, so we went to the mountains when he had a day off. And up in the mountains, under the night sky, we had sex. and it was like in the garden. There were a lot of beautiful trees, and then mid-action, I see a fucking horse coming next to us, and they were like trying to sniff me, and that felt so bad. Like I was so scared. I was so scared. And then, we were sitting together afterwards, and then uh he was smoking, and I decided to, I don't know why, but I decided to set on fire my knickers. I like setting on fire things, okay? Like I'm a person like that. So, yeah, we were just sitting and watching my knickers get burnt like completely. I don't know. And then yeah, the next day he had work, so I decided to visit some of my friends. My friend told me the address where to go, where to come. I go there, and that guy was also a love of my life. A bit later, I was like, I was so madly in love with him when I was like 18. He seemed like so edgy. He was a skater boy, and that was like like passion. But we never really had like relationships. He was just like my passion. He was my passion. I was secretly like reading everything he was posting. I was like living on his page. I was obsessed with it. And then at some point, I don't know how, but we just became friends. And he invited me to go with his friends, skaters. And yeah, I was a little stalker, guys. Like you would be very surprised. I'm a good stalker, trust me. Um, and then I come to this place of skaters, to their little store that they were keeping. And you know what? I come there. That day, I was wearing my black top, long sleeved, black beautiful short mini skirt, and I looked very nice. I was wearing a choker. I come to that place, and I see that guy there. That guy is the first love of my life. I immediately knew it was him, and he knew it was me. And we looked at each other, and I knew that I loved him still. That this whole time, 4 years of him being absent, I kept that love inside because it was unresolved. He didn't say that this is the end of our relationship. He didn't say anything. Nothing happened. He just disappeared. So at first he was shy and he didn't really talk, but then we started like talking a little. And when he came, when it was time for me to leave, he said that he would walk me home, and that would take us like 1 hour or something. So we were walking, and as we left that place, I saw someone throw the bouquet of flowers into the trash bin, like outside, like in the street, and it was like it was fresh flowers. I mean, I took one rose and I said, I'm going to tear each petal as we are going, and by the end of our journey, when there is no petals left, my love is going to disappear because of what you've done to me. So we were talking and we were going, right? And he told me the story that at that time he went to this party with friends and a lot of random people, the stuff teenagers usually do. And he met this one girl. He met this one girl who he said he fell in love with later. But at that time, he drank, and they slept. And he said that he felt so guilty that he never told me the truth. Never. he said he didn't have enough courage to tell me the truth that he fucked up. And when we were coming to, like, when we came to my apartment block, and I gave him what was left from the rose, and I said, well, you know, just for the sake of love that we had, and for all those years that I didn't know what was going on, I want to kiss you. But with this kiss, I mean goodbye forever. It's gonna be our first and last kiss, and I don't want to know you anymore for what you've done. And then he looked at me, and when we kissed, he said, I guess I shouldn't have done this, because now it hurts even more, because I just realized that I've done the biggest mistake of my life. And then I said goodbye, and that was kind of again cheating, you know? Because at that time, I had that boyfriend whom I didn't like, but because of him, I slept with one guy, I lost my virginity, and that whole thing happened in 1 week, by the way. 1 week. It was the guy from VK, yes. They both were from the Vkontakte, but this guy was from the 16-year-old story. I mean, when I was 16-year-old. He just disappeared, ghosted me, basically, and I didn't know what happened to him. After some time, when I became a DJ, that guy, my first love, and that crush of mine whom I was stalking, they became friends. And one night, that guy asked me, like, if I wanted to join their little party at home. I said yeah, and I came to their place. We were just sitting and, you know, talking, watching him, you know, go through the photos and stuff, because he's a photographer. And then we kissed, and it felt so weird because that love of my life was in the next room, just chilling. I mean, he didn't see that, but, you know, I just felt so weird that I kissed both and him and this guy. But that happened like way later in my life. Like, it happened like maybe like in 2 years or something after that. So the next day, I meet that boyfriend that I didn't like, and you know what he told me? He was looking at my face and he said, "You're so beautiful, but you know, you're that type of a person who cheats. You're gonna cheat on me." And I was like, "Okay, fine." And when I was leaving, on train, I looked into his eyes, and I said, like, when you're looking into my eyes, like, what do you see? And he said, I see the sky. And I said, when I look into your eyes, I see the mountains. And I knew at that very moment, I'm not gonna come back to him ever again. Ever again. Never. And after some time, I came home. I started playing Mass Effect. I was playing Mass Effect like crazy. I didn't talk to him. And then one day I just call him and I say, you know, like, we need to break up. And he was going crazy. He was calling me and he was screaming at me, and he said that I'm a bitch, that I'm evil, and that he's going to come and sit next to my apartment block every single day till he meets me, and then and I should tell him into his face that we were breaking up. I said, do it. Do it. Do you think, guys, he did it? The funniest part is that I saw this guy. I saw him like maybe 6 months ago or something, like in spring, you know, and he you know, he has become so conservative, and like he's like such a normie. And like when I saw him, and he's also like shaved, and you know, he's wearing like Adidas tracksuit and all that, and he's like, you know, moving like just like a typical Kazakh guy does, and that's so crazy for me because like he was so different when I met him. All my exes, like now that I think about it, like all my exes were so bad in a way that not bad, but like they were fumbling me because that's just crazy. Yeah. Around 6 months ago, I was going home and I saw that guy, the first love of my life, going on the street next to me, and he didn't recognize me, I think. I did recognize him. And we were staying on the pedestrian crossing, like before the traffic light, and I was like, looking at him like this. And I felt so weird. I felt like, is that the person I was dying for? Is that the person who made me feel so shit? And now we act like we don't even know each other. That's so crazy. I had another one trash story. Like there was a guy whom I met on the internet, and I said like, that was my last exam at university, my first course, my first year, I think. Oh, no, it was third year, I think. I met him on the internet and I said, "Hey, do you want some, adventures?" And he was like, "Okay." And then we just met up. Like we at like 5 a.m. my time, we were just trying to have some fun. We talked a lot, laughed, and at first, like he seemed to be such a nice guy, and then it turns out that all the times when he was like meeting me, he had massive anxiety issues. He was doing LSD. He was like constantly on LSD when he was with me. And I didn't, at that time, I didn't know what is LSD and what psychedelics were. I only did ecstasy at that time. So I didn't know that he was high on LSD. And he kept telling me that I am an alien, that I am from another planet. And I was like, what? I mean, at first he was like, LSD Jesus? Yes, he looks like an LSD Jesus because he has like, like he's very skinny and he has long hair too. And it's so funny that, he lives in this city now too. And like at the rave, he recognized me and he was like, "Oh, Janelle, that's you, right?" I was like, "Don't talk to me." And he was like, "What the fuck is wrong with you? I just wanted to talk to you." And I said, "Just don't talk. I don't know you. I know you, but I don't know you anymore." You know why? Because this guy, when we were together, he was telling me things like, "You're very beautiful for a Kazakh girl, and you're very smart for a Kazakh girl." I was like, "What the fuck are you saying?" He's Russian, but he was born and raised in Kazakhstan. And like that one night when we were together and he said that to me, I was like, "Bro, what? What? Like, what the fuck?" And, he had a friend. It is very racist. What do you mean? Of course, that's one of the reasons why I left him because that happened. And also his friend, yeah, for Kazakh girl, not Kazakhstani girl, for Kazakh girl. And he had a friend like yeah, he wanted to, I mean, I insisted. I said like, let's rent a flat and have sex, and he was like, "Okay, but I don't have money." And then we went to his studio because he was a drummer, and there was a friend with his girlfriend, and he asked them to give him money. And I was like, waiting outside the room, and the girl said, "If you're going to stay on your knees and beg me, I'm gonna give you money." And he didn't. I just came inside and I said, "Let's go. Like, let's go. Let's just go." And he kept telling me that that guy was his friend when he was acting like shit towards him from everything that I saw that was happening. And I told him like, that's not a friend. That is not a friend who acts like this. Asking you to stay on your knees? Like, what the fuck? Even as a joke, that's not a joke. And, after all that shit that I saw, I said, like, I don't want to be your girlfriend anymore. Yeah, the one of the things that made me also, like, leave him was that, it was the third day of us being together. We were coming from his home. Um, we didn't sleep, by the way. We didn't have sex. We just only kissed. Thank God. He said we need to do something. I was like, okay. We went to the bookstore and there was a girl waiting for him, and he gave her a book while I was waiting for him. And then he came up to me and said that was my ex, and I was like, but why would you bring me to this point to just show off that I'm your new girlfriend, like while showing me your ex? Like, what the fuck? And after that, like, I decided that, like, we need to break up. Crazy. Yeah, now, guys, you know a bit of my story. And, guys, like, this is not even a third of the trash stories that I can tell you. This is not even a third. And, after all the shit that happened to me, I still like dicks. I still like men, unfortunately. Like, women just don't attract me physically, but I wish they did. Because I don't know, guys, like, every single time there are a lot of men who are trying to hit on me, but like, can they love me, and not like all this shit that I have to, like, encounter throughout my entire fucking life. That's crazy. I never betrayed anyone like this, like people betrayed me. I mean, you told me DMs about women. Yeah, but I have less women in my DMs telling me that they want to sleep with me. It's mostly men who come to my DMs and just ask me to do things for them. I'm like, Broski, like, what the fuck? I'm telling you should make a podcast. I don't know. Maybe I can just, make I can save this stream and just upload it on YouTube. You go viral? No, I don't want to go viral. I don't care about that shit. I don't care about people, listening to that story or not. I just share this because I felt like I wanted to tell this to you particularly, but not other people. Um, yeah. Fame is a very dangerous thing, in my opinion. I don't have a desire to be famous. I have a desire to be seen and to be heard, to be appreciated. And it's different from being famous. I like the attention, but I try to, seek the attention from the people that I like. And I'm very proud of my chat in the sense that whenever I talk to you guys, I know that you understand me. I know that people in my chat are very sensible and compassionate, and I know that you guys understand me. And I know that you're real and like you're acting like people, because sometimes like I open people's chats, like, again, I don't want to sound like I'm judging, but I just see how people communicate and I don't understand that type of communication. It's not my type of thing. I prefer when people are actually being people. Hello, Max. How are you? Good year. I'm great. Today I have reached my new record. I have walked for 88.73 kilometers this month. I think it's even more because I just didn't turn on I didn't turn on it all the time. You know, the app that counts like all my jogging sessions, walking, dancing, stretching, all that. And I want to show off once more before I go to bed what I have achieved by this. Guys, this is how 90 kilometers look like. You see this? You see the muscles? That's crazy. You see that? Have you seen my butt? That's crazy. I have butt now. Yeah. I feel like my body looks great as fuck right now. Look at that shit. Beautiful. So freaking beautiful. Yeah, that's me. I need to buy the little thingies, the dumbbells. Like, guys, please, can anyone sponsor my dumbbells, please? I'd be really glad. They only cost like 10 euros, I think. I use that. Yeah. I just want I want this part of my body to be more prominent. It's good now, but just a little bit when I'm not doing anything. Like you see, like when I'm not moving it, it's like not even, but I want it to be a bit more even, and that's it. That's all I want. All right, guys. I think it's time for me to go. I'm tired. Gonna go sleep. I'm gonna stream in the morning when I wake up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Which is like in 8 hours. I'll see you in 8 hours, bitches. Thanks for the stream. Good night and take care. Thank you all for listening to my story. And I hope you enjoyed listening. I love you all. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye. Give me wait coffee. I mean, I don't really have a lot of people watch me, so. But sure. Let's go, boys.